Take your event to the next level with Crossroads TV. Professional audio and video production, multi-camera live streaming, audio system for your panels and entertainment, plus stunning video screen production on LED walls. High quality, seamless production, tailored to your needs. Let us bring your vision to life. Contact us today.
For February 17th, 6 p.m. for the budget workshop for Public Works, Sewer, Sanitation, Parks and Rec. And we can start by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'm going to turn it right over to our interim town manager, as he's wearing two hats this evening. Paul?
Yep, if you don't mind, I'll stay here. If it's on, I don't know if the camera picks me up here or not, Chad. Okay. First one is Public Works.
Are you on page 31, Paul?
Page 31, yes.
Okay.
That's correct. And we'll go with the manager's proposed. And, you know, the first line is salaries. That's my salary, that's part of Sherry's salary, that's part of one of the foremen. The portion of my salary is actually split in three between Public Works, Sewer, and Sanitation. Everybody else is split like two ways. The regular salaries is for my guys, and the reason why it went down from what I had proposed, I was originally thinking, because of the difficulty of trying to find somebody to replace Dean, I had thought of making it a full-time position, that we could use him in the wintertime for like sidewalks and whatever, but as we've been thinking about it, a union position in the summertime, if they have to work on the weekends to cut the grass, because Dean used to do that, if it rained during the week, they would come in on Saturday. Well, if it's a union position, now it's overtime. Now I have to offer it to somebody else, because it goes by seniority, so we'll keep it as a part-time position for now.
Can we find somebody like Dean?
I'm gonna try real hard.
And that way they wouldn't have to fill that position. We don't have to pay all that other money out, because most of these people here are semi-retired and they don't have to have all these benefits.
Right. But I also need, part of that administration line is also to replace the other foreman that I had get done in December. He still oversees the parks, the park department.
Wasn't he doing Parks and Rec?
Carl was doing parks, he was doing sewer, and he was working with Dean.
Now, did we have him before we started with Parks and Recs?
We had him when we started Parks.
You
and Rec.
had him before?
No, he's part of the parks.
He's
That
part
was-
of the Parks.
That was part of the deal, that if you guys wanted Public Works to do parks, we needed somebody to supervise them.
Okay, so maybe we can, see if we can find somebody like Dean that, you know, that's working, just wants to work part-time, doesn't have to have the benefits.
The thing is, we
That
still,
way
we
they
still
would-
need that extra foreman's position. Because when I'm out or Trevor is out, we still need somebody to help cover, like these storms. You know, it makes for long days, and especially the sewer part, I need somebody that can spend more time on the sewer than.
Well, how about if we do this, if we have somebody that's in town and pay him a stipend for working with Parks and Rec instead of making him a supervisor?
I still would like a supervisor's position. I think it helps us in the long run.
I just think it would save us some money.
Well, we did bring the wages down for this foreman's position, because we were paying Carl some pretty good money. 'Cause he
Yeah,
had-
so 78,000, wasn't
Right,
it?
we're down to 66. So we've dropped that down to a reasonable starting wage. And I don't know what we're gonna get in the Parks Department, because if I follow what I'm thinking, and I don't wanna let it out tonight because we haven't done interviews for that position, that person will probably do more than what Dean was doing. And we can start that position later in the spring.
Okay. Yeah, let's look and see if we can find another guy like Dean. I know
Right,
they're hard to
well,
find.
Thing is, we'd have to find it like this week, you know?
This week?
Well, I mean, time is moving, and we gotta
Well, I
get,
know that. But I mean, we wouldn't really have to have him for another couple months anyways.
right, but if I'm gonna move up a foreman, I need to work on that, so. If we pass the budget now, then we decide that we don't do it, and we don't have the money to do it as we go further on, so.
I think Mike bringing it up, it brings up the question of, you have a staff of 12 and you have 3 people in charge, you and 2 foremen.
Right.
3 people in charge of 12 staff. That sounds like a big number.
Well, don't
And
forget-
I understand what you're saying as far as this position, he's gonna overlook or be a foreman for Parks and Rec and some other things as they come up.
Right.
But that's a lot of money, because you didn't always do it that way. And I know you took over Parks
We
and
never
Rec.
did the parks, that's
Right,
the big
right.
issue. That used to
So,
be-
in Parks and Rec is summer, correct? So you could,
Early spring, April to probably November, depending when, you know, they do the
Right.
final cleanup, so.
we could also just look at moving up one of the staff you currently have into a supervisory position maybe to oversee the Parks and Rec. It would be at an awful big savings and spending less money.
Well,
And-
that's kind of what I'm looking at. I've got one of my guys that would like to move up.
Well, then you wouldn't need that second foreman position though, right?
Right.
Well, he'd still be a foreman, but the thing is, if I move somebody up, I have to replace him in the public works part of it. Because the person I'm thinking about is one of my mechanics. So he's in the
So
second.
then you would be down to mechanic.
Yes.
Well, you can take any one of your staff and retrain just to be a supervisor over summer staff. You can pay him a little bit more per hour, and you can pay him as a
But I don't have
supervisor.
those extra bodies to give up to the Parks Department. I mean, my guys, I have 8 guys that are basically public works. We keep them busy all summer long between, you know, the ditching.
Oh, I absolutely agree that they're
And the work
very.
that we do, so.
Yep, I do. I think where we're concentrating on saving the taxpayers' money, we did want to look at, it fell into your lap that somebody just retired, so
Right.
we're not going to lay anybody off or
Right.
get rid of anybody, but we have to think about, wouldn't it be a little more frugal to pay a supervisor to oversee that foreman's position rather than pay the 70 or 60 or whatever you're paying a foreman? 3 positions, 3 vehicles, we have to keep in mind now, there's 3 vehicles the town people have paid for out of a staff of 12, and they take those home. That's a big expense too,
Well,
you know?
most of my guys live close, so I mean, we're not traveling very far, but.
But if he's a foreman seasonally, why would he be taking a truck home, I guess?
Well, they used to take turns between Trevor and Carl. They took turns being on call, and I wasn't on call anymore.
So they take it home because they're on call?
Correct.
I got a question, Amanda, maybe you can answer this. When we had Dean over there, this was all under Rexon Park, correct?
Previously, yes.
Yes. Do you think that we could do something with Rexon Park by hiring somebody like Dean again and do it that way?
You can. I think, you know, we had a good thing 8 years ago. We have a good thing now. I think that we could make it work. If you could find somebody, my biggest worry is that Dean is a kind of a 1 in a million, and so to find someone who's invested in Winslow that's willing to work the best parts of the year.
Yeah.
In May, and let's face it, right now is not the time, the best part is July. So I think whatever the council would like to do, you know, we can make it work.
Okay.
Like we did previously, and then we transitioned and Paul took it, and that's worked out well too, though, because we've had access to all the public works equipment and been able to get a lot accomplished, so.
Can we take a look at that, Paul? See if we can do that?
Yeah, I just don't know what we can find or who we can
Yeah, I
find
know,
in those
I know.
positions. It's hard, you know. It's hard to find full-time people and
I understand finding people who want to work.
find somebody that will be conscientious and, you
Yeah.
know, like she said, Dean was very special. If it rained during the week, he was out there Sunday mowing, you know.
Yeah.
We have a hard time finding those people, but
Yeah, I know.
we will look.
Okay.
Paul, on when the two foremen, and one of them's primary job, or they were split, was the sewer department, or is, or was.
Yes.
How much work, did Kyle apportion his time between Parks and Rec and sewer, or
As
just
much,
did
as
things
much as
they went?
possible. I mean, I oversaw some too. It's just that we have a lot of responsibilities as we're going forward with the sewer between the insurance requirements and DEP's requirements and the fact we're trying to get the system, you know, more automated, more, you know, with the GIS system, trying to get stuff, the asset management, trying to get set up. I mean, ideally, you know, we still have a lot of paper records. We're trying to get that up to be digital as much as possible. You know, if you go like, if you talk to the guys like, say, Kennebec Water, they show up on site, they have a tablet, they can pull up all their maps, they can find all the locations. Eventually, we'd like to get there, but we haven't gotten there because, I mean, Chevy does a lot with the GIS system, but it's quite technical, and you know, it's somebody needs to have more time to spend on it than say I would. You know?
Now, you've got Chaffee Brook, if things go right, Chaffee Brook is gonna start this summer, this spring.
Traffic Brook, we just signed a contract.
Yeah, and that's supposed
Oh,
to
we are
start this
signing a
summer.
contract.
And that job is primarily sewer.
That's primarily sewer.
And then you've got Sunset Heights that is supposed to start this spring.
Sunset Heights, we're working on that. We had a meeting this morning with the railroad, and we're
And
moving forward.
a good portion of Sunset Heights is also the sewer.
Yes. And then we've got, you know, we've got
So you've
other
got
road
those
projects.
two big projects coming on.
We've got our regular paving projects. We've got that big culvert on North Pond Road that we got a grant for. That's hopefully, we're gonna try get it out there this summer. We're gonna try sign a contract. I don't think it's gonna get built this summer because I don't think we can get the culvert built this summer.
That's Sunset Heights?
No, for North Pond Road.
Oh, North Pond Road?
It's a box, that's a two-piece box culvert, and the manufacturer is pretty much at their limit right now for what they can produce this year, so
That's the cement one, right?
that's concrete, yes.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get it out to bid and get, you know, firm price and get commitments. It's just, I don't know if it's actually gonna get built this year, just because we can't get the materials.
Has there been washouts over there?
The culvert's collapsing.
Oh, okay.
It's an old metal culvert that's been collapsing. We patch it every year, but at some point, that's why we applied for the grant, because it's a stream crossing.
Okay.
It's a fairly large project. So those are all projects, and, you know, I'm still involved with the junior high and other projects that the town has going, so
Now, Sunset Heights, when are we starting that project?
I'm hoping we get it out to bids this year. Like I say, we just talked to the railroad to get, you know, to figure out how. we
Permission go
can
underneath
Go into
it?
the tracks, and they had good information this morning. I think it's gonna be easier than what we had thought, but it still takes time to get out there. And we're still waiting to get the final paperwork for the actual grant that we had from EPA, that we haven't finished that yet.
Okay.
And I don't know if hopefully that grant is still gonna be available.
Do you know how much that grant is?
That was $3 million.
2 million?
$3
3 million.
million. But with what's happening in Washington, I don't know how many of those are actually going to happen.
Yeah, because that wasn't allocated before that.
No, but it was part of the federal budget. It was in the budget, so, but.
We don't know where it's gonna
I have
go.
no idea where it's gonna go. Hopefully we don't lose it, because
Yeah.
it's a third of that project, so.
So with all these sewer things coming on board, Paul, Those are two major projects, obviously. You still need a foreman for that job. You still need,
I need a foreman
That-
that can supervise my guys that do actual sewer work. My guys that go out and flush lines and camera lines and, you know, try to come up with work plans of what needs to be done, you know, in the year to come or during
and
the year.
that's a year-round job.
That's a year-round job. My guys, like, you know, obviously they're not gonna go out on a day like today when it's super cold, but, you know, when it's warm enough, they go out year-round with the camera and camera lines and.
Now, Dean did that too?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
But that was, my foreman was responsible for watching those guys out.
Okay.
That's the sewer part that he was doing. That's why his salary was split between sewer and public works. So only half of his salary goes to public works. The other
Okay.
half goes to sewer.
And you said if you hired a new one, it would be 66,000,
So
not
yeah, it's
70?
$32 an hour. I mean, we paid Carl good money because he had 30-plus years with Waterville, so he was a very experienced supervisor. Whoever we get now is gonna be someone probably new, and we'll have to train him, so.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the salaries. Part-time salaries that are in there is all for the Parks Department. The overtime, obviously, is for my guys.
I'm sorry, Paul, can I just interrupt for a
Sure.
moment? I got this note that I'm supposed to fill out this paperwork for Audra, and we should have done a roll call,
I believe that's for the executive session
just for the
tomorrow.
executive session?
Yeah,
Disclosure of conflicts of interest?
that would be tomorrow, for tomorrow's executive session, I think. It's dated at the top. I was just told to
Oh,
pass it
good,
along.
thanks. I thought I messed up. I'm like, oh goodness, I've messed up.
This is nothing I'm aware of, so.
Oh, good. That's good, thank you. Thank you. Katie. Sorry, Paul.
I think most of the rest of the expenses going down, I mean, some of them have gone up a little bit just because the cost of materials, but they pretty much reflect between what I requested, what the manager had put in. Pretty much in lockstep with that. We did drop a little bit on the ice control, about $10,000, because last year we only bought 75% of the salt that we had contracted for. But that's always kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You know, we never know.
How we've been doing in the past years.
We've always been, last year was the first year we actually had to buy salt in May because we hadn't fulfilled our contract.
Okay.
Never had that happen before. That's how little salt we bought last winter. But,
You gonna have enough to finish this year?
oh yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I contract 2,000 tons, but that requires us to buy 1,750, and it covers us up to 25% over is what, 2,250 or 2,500. You know, it covers us both ways, but we have to buy the minimum. Like I said, we've never not bought the minimum. Last year, we were like 1,500 tons or something, so.
Did we ever have to go until maximum?
I've gone over maximum. I've gone up to 2,600 tons before.
You ran out one year, didn't you, Paul?
What's that?
You ran out one year a few years ago,
No,
didn't you?
that had nothing to do with the quantity. That was just the supplier didn't have any salt. That was a different story altogether. But we have gone over that.
Oh, that's hard to tell.
It's very hard to tell. So like I said, I took a little bit off. Obviously, next winter, if we're go over on the money, we're still going to buy salt. We're still going to fix the roads, and we'll be over on that line item. It's about all we can do.
Through the chair, Paul, what is the $7,000 for meal reimbursement?
That is to pay my guys when they work beyond certain hours. We buy them a meal,
Okay.
either supper, midnight. If they don't take the meal, we give it to them in cash.
Okay.
It's $15 a meal right now in the contract.
Yeah.
We either go out to, most of the time right now, since Big G's closed, we go to Purple Cow. It's the only place that we have that's open early that
Really?
can actually sit down and have breakfast. I laughed last year. The chief, Lenny called me one day. He said, "You know, you guys are in Fairfield." Yeah, it's the only place we have to eat. You know, there's really, you know, Big G's was fantastic for us at the beginning. When I first started, they opened at 6 o'clock. We'd be there 6 o'clock, grab a meal, go back on the road. Now they weren't opening till like 8 o'clock, and it didn't work real well for us. And now
I don't
they're
think we
totally
have any.
closed, so-
I don't think we have any restaurants that open at 6 o'clock in Winslow.
No. So I see a Purple Cow for us right now is convenient. We have to cross in Fairfield anyway because of
Yeah.
the bridge. So that's what we've been doing. So, but that's where
Okay.
that meal allowance goes
Yeah.
between paying them for, you know, like if they stay beyond midnight, we owe them a meal, and it's all in the contract. So
On your building maintenance, which building is that?
that is my main building.
Your building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And unfortunately, the honeymoon's over with that building. It was built in 2008, so it's starting to show some age. I mean, we just changed the circulating pump this last week. That cost us $3,700. So, you know, it's just getting starting to wear out. You know, these things run all the time. So, one minute it's a door that needs repairs, or some electrical, or
Right.
the toilet, or something. You know, it's always something.
What is the workplace health?
Workplace Health is over in Waterville at the Thayer Center, and they do our drug testing.
Oh, okay.
All my guys with
Yeah.
CDLs have to do random drug testing.
And the networking?
The networking, that's part of our computer system through Waterville, and
Okay.
that's a fixed cost. That's for the
Okay,
IT.
perfect, thank you.
And Workplace Health, I see Amanda going. It's also, we do hearing protection for the kids that work at the park, in the Parks Department. They have to do hearing conservation,
How many times is that done a year?
once a year, I believe.
Once
You
a
have to
year.
get a baseline, and then they have to do it every single year, and it's a state mandated
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I know that. Okay.
It's a hearing what?
It's the state mandated.
To hearing conservation, they have to do hearing tests every year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because of the noise that they work in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hey, Paul, that increase on the street signs, is that based on the overage for the year? Is
Yeah,
that-
that's, you know, we've been buying more street signs.
Is it due to lack of materials or lack of being able to get them, or?
No, it's just the costs have gone up like everything else, and then we've been adding some. I don't know if you've noticed, if you come off, like, let's say you come off Smiley Avenue, we added one that says Clinton Avenue, because we never had those. We never had the cross streets. And I noticed that, like, when I moved here, if you don't know where you are, you come out on the side street and it's like, huh, wonder where I am. You know, when you know where you are, it's not important, but if you
Right.
look at it from somebody's point of view that doesn't know the community, you know, it's nice to have that cross street that, so we've been adding some of those, and obviously they're expensive, and then stop signs and those types of signs that get run over and
Yeah.
get stolen, and et cetera.
Thanks.
How many staff do each foreman supervise?
They pretty much split. I mean, the sewer department's 2 guys, public works is 8. I have 2 mechanics.
You have 2 mechanics? I only saw one.
No, I have 2 mechanics. I have Josh Nielsen and I have Richard Collar.
I didn't see Josh.
One's marked as senior mechanic, and I think the other one's just a mechanic.
Okay, see, okay, yeah, you are right. My apologies.
And see, they alternate. They're on call every other week, especially in the wintertime. So one of them always comes in. Like this weekend, we had a mechanic on call, on duty all the time. He does some plowing parking lots, but I have somebody here that, you know, if something breaks, then we're not calling somebody from home to come in and fix a hydraulic line or a cable, or it's, you know, you get 8, 9 pieces of equipment out there. You need somebody.
Yeah. Now, with your supervisor that you had before, he was a mechanic. Now you have, no, he wasn't a mechanic. You have 2 mechanics right
Yes,
now.
yes.
It's going to be hard pressing if you take one of those and put him as a supervisor, isn't it?
It
Or do
will.
you-
I'd have to replace him as a mechanic. So
Okay. And so he'd do mechanic as well?
if he's a supervisor, probably not. But I'm thinking he could do a little bit more mechanic in the parks department than say Dean was doing.
Yeah.
So, which means that person wouldn't have to come in as early in the spring. Dean used to come in, I think,
March.
end of March and start going through all the tractors and everything. Well, this guy could do that.
Okay.
And that full-time, part-time person wouldn't have to start maybe till April or May when we actually start cutting grass and doing that type of work, so,
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
welcome. Any further questions?
Thank you, Paul, for doing a great job.
We try.
I just saw one of your trucks leave the shop, Paul.
Yeah, been chasing snowdrifts all day. I had 3 guys out this afternoon, and I know just one of them just went back out, and he just got off the sidewalk machine. He spent all afternoon doing sidewalks, so. And he was out with us, so he went home this morning at 6:30 and did his driveway, probably got a couple hours sleep and came back in, so. We don't have a whole lot of extra bodies, so if there's somebody out there, it's somebody that's putting in overtime.
Yeah.
And we'll probably hauling snow this week with the snow we've had. We'll probably start pulling snow on the road and picking it up with that big snow blower that you saw.
Now, is that the reason why you went up, when the manager proposed 72,000 for overtime? You had 60.
It's part of that is because their wages go up.
Oh, okay.
You know, overtime's based on their wages, so. We may not spend it, but I need to have enough of it to cover them. It's hard to look at last year, because last year was such an anomaly that it really wasn't accurate.
Okay.
I've seen some winters, we get 250 hours, close to 300 hours of overtime per person, so. I don't know where we are right now, we're probably getting closer to 200 now.
Well, you're at 35% right now, Paul.
Well, we're at probably I get a sheet. Probably 150? Yeah, my latest sheet, we're in the mid-140s, and we put on 30 hours this weekend.
The regular salaries, that's gone up between all the people in Public Works, it's gone up, 47,000 on your proposal. Is that because of the raises that they got?
On my proposal, it was to make that full-time position, that's why the
Oh,
the
okay.
manager's one is lower. At 544, and that's basically,
541, right? Regular, to manager's proposal?
I have 544.
Really? Is that the third line?
Mm-hmm.
I got 541, 98898.
That's odd, that hasn't changed at all.
That's what I have here.
You got a weird sheet for some reason.
Yeah, sure did.
544, 498 is, I think, what everybody else has.
We're having some printer issues, so I wonder if somehow.
I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
not a page that was changed, was it?
Nope.
That's wrong, his is wrong.
You have a run date of January 27th?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, January 27th.
Well, I can get you a new one.
Yeah, please.
We just want to mess with you.
Right.
So I'm sorry, you said the difference in that is for that that second foreman position, right?
No, that was for creating a full-time position in Dean's position. The 589,
Right.
I was gonna make that a full-time position.
Which position again, I'm
For
sorry?
Dean's position.
Dean's, okay, yep.
And that was gonna be for 66,000 instead of 78,000?
No, that was gonna be for less than that,
Less than that?
yes. That 66,000 is included in the 164 above,
Oh, okay.
or half of that, 66. Decided to keep it the way it is right now with that, is what I call full-time, part-time position in the summer. That's why the part-time salary went up from my proposal to the manager's proposal. Look like you have a question, Dale.
No?
No?
No? Don't worry, you'll know when I have one.
So are you asking Paul to go with your proposal at 1.494?
No, I'm looking at going with the manager's proposal, 1.490.
Okay. And on the top, you're gonna go with the manager's proposal too?
164.9, yes. I'm not sure if that changed with the longevity?
All I know is I printed out everybody's replacement pages in the same batch, so.
Well, no,
I
because,
have no idea.
because I have longevity, and so does Trevor, and because we have to put them on an hourly basis, some of these salary lines might have changed a little bit, where before they were. in
They
the-
did change from the initial proposal.
I have longevity, it says
Oh.
3650.
Yeah.
Oh,
But under the manager proposed, it's wiped out because
It's
it had
wiped
to
out.
go into hourly.
It's not on mine.
I can't see that.
Oh, Paul, mine says that your proposal was 3650 for longevity,
This is the number that
but
you-
nothing under the manager's proposal.
That's weird.
Because it had to go up to the hourly, it had to go up to hourly wages We can't pay a lump sum.
That's in the other,
No, it went up into their salaries.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Thank you.
But it's not a huge amount of money.
yeah.
I think mine's 500, I think. So when you divide that by 2,000 hours, it doesn't make a big increase. Further questions? We move on?
We move on, I guess.
Want to come back and revisit when we've done other budgets, or?
Probably.
Yes.
So I'm not making any changes to the Public Works budget, correct?
Not right now.
Not at this time.
We'll see what happens with Paul, see if he can find somebody, or Amanda can find somebody, see what you can do. I know the time limit is very short.
Yeah.
See where we'll go from there.
The next page is the sewer budget.
Paisley.
Yep, thank you.
And most of that is just, wage increases. That also includes that part-time position, that half of that supervisor's position on sewer department. The rest of it, below the overtime, that's all figured out here by the girls, the FICA, Main State Retirement, so that goes.
Sorry. Mike, you'll also have to use the replacement page that I just gave you. The other side of that is the sewer budget.
Oh, okay.
I mean, our budget has stayed pretty flat as far as, the wages and that part of it. It really hasn't changed a whole lot, other than wage increases. The operating expenses, probably the largest increase is KSTD, Canterbury Sanitary District.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Why the increase in there?
That's the bill they send us for treating our sewage.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
based,
okay.
and that's based on our flows and our concentration and
Sure.
whatever money that's left over in the operating budget from the year before, they share part of that, and,
Now, Vassaborough's storage comes into ours, right?
correct. But we treat them like they are just a customer of ours, just
Okay.
like Loman or anybody else.
Lee knows something about that. How's that work, Lee? When it comes into ours?
Yeah, basically it comes into, I believe it's, Dunbar Road.
And it comes
And
into
then, and then
Dunbar.
it gets pumped over and,
So we have a pump there on the Dunbar Road and it
Yes.
pumps it down?
It pumps into the rest of our system, that ends up going down to the main pump station and goes across the river.
Right.
So it's,
Thank you.
we bill them like any other customer, no more nor less. Other than we treat them as a bigger customer, so they pay a bigger standard rate.
They do?
Yes.
Vassaborough does?
Because of their flows, just like we do with, I call them Loman, I don't know what you call them today now, they're Elanco, they've been changing name, I don't know how many times, but anyway, they're the same way. They have a high flow, we charge them a higher base
Now,
rate.
do they pay, the people who have septic systems, do they pay a portion of that as well?
In Vassalboro?
Yeah? Their taxes, just like Winslow, we had to pay for the unused portion for the septic
no,
system.
basically what it was, when they put in the new piping system to pipe it through, a lot of it was, pressurized lines.
Yeah?
So, anytime there's a pressurized line, it's a really large expense to tie into it. But if it's a gravity fed line, and they basically, when the pipe was put in, they put basically spigots on, well, not spigots, but they put a tie-in that's capped off in front of the houses. And any line that goes by a house with a gravity fed, they're charged a ready to serve fee, regardless if they tie in or not.
Okay.
And if their system fails in any way whatsoever, state law requires them to tie in to the pipe And,
So
and
it's
not-
mandatory.
Yeah, mandatory.
Okay, thank you, Lee.
Well, just to give you a heads up, this KSTD fees are gonna be going up probably substantially in the next 3 to 5 years. Because they're planning some huge upgrades at their plant. Their plant was built in the mid-70s, just like Chaffee Brook, and
I talked to somebody that works here, and he says, yeah, the fees are gonna be substantial.
I mean, they're looking anywhere from, I've heard from $50 to $60 million up to $100 million of updates.
Yep.
Not all at once, but
Right, I heard the same
over
thing,
the years, so that's gonna translate higher costs for us.
but they haven't started that yet.
No, they're still in the planning stages, and I'm sure they're gonna look at everybody else trying to get some grant money, but
Yeah, I was talking to somebody that was working on that.
it's coming.
Mm.
I mean, the rest of the budget is stayed pretty flat. That's the big increase there was KSTD. Everybody else, everything else that we've been able to keep it pretty steady.
On the $3,000 on postage, am I wrong in assuming that you're mailing out heavy pieces of equipment?
No, that's for the sewer bills.
On the postage, okay.
That's postage for sewer bills.
I didn't know if you were ordering parts
Nope,
and,
nope.
okay.
No, that's strictly mailing for, the sewer bills go out quarterly, so. And the postage goes up all the time, so.
So we're looking at a hike of $3,000 this year.
We're going from if you go, last year's budget was 1,066,000, we're going up to 1,113,000, so probably,
Oh,
my
yeah.
math is not that good, but $40,000-$50,000, but like I say, if you look at just KSTD, they went up from 480 to, they went up $38,000 just for KSTD, so.
Sunset Heights, are we doing that in three stages or 4 stages? Do you know, Paul?
That's gonna be up to you guys. I mean, we're gonna do phase 1.
Well, didn't we talk about that before?
Yeah, it would be, it could be more. I mean, it's gonna depend how much,
Money we have to spend in it.
yeah, how much we have to spend. It'd be nice to get this phase done and get this backbone in and get this new outfall to the river and deal with the railroad and everybody else. And then it's designed that the other streets will just tie into what's already done, so.
Okay.
My biggest goal is to try to get up to Joe Ave and catch the rest of those outfalls that are going towards McDonald's, which passed in behind like where Mr. LaFountain lives.
Yeah.
We have outfalls from those storm drains that go through those backyards and go out to that stream, which, you know, that's, somebody back in the day wasn't really thinking when they allowed those to go in there, but
That why we always have a flood there by the IGA?
it's part of it. It contributes to it. It's not the only thing, but.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help, and it's, you know, he's been complaining since I've been here that, you know, his backyard is always wet when it rains, and
Yeah.
it's not pleasant, but.
But there's been no flooding at Cumberland Farms, has there, since?
No, I'm pretty
they
sure
finished
what
the
we did
Cushman
last year on the
Road?
Cushman Road
Cushman Road.
alleviated most of that. We've caught all those storm drains and don't send them in the stream anymore.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, I can't control what McDonald's does, that their pipe is not always well opened up and clean, but I can't control that, it's private property. But I know our town water, our public water is not going there anymore. Only what Mother Nature decides to send. And Robert Street, when we do that project on Robert Street this year, as part of that was part of the Cushman Road project, we still have money, that also is gonna stop a lot of that heavy flow going into that stream. It's gonna,
Yeah.
it's not gonna stop, it's gonna slow it down, so it doesn't hit us quickly and cause a problem.
We won't have the overflow like we used to have there.
Correct, it won't be as instantaneous, because we're gonna put a sediment pond that's gonna slow it down and meter it out, so. So that's sewer budget. Any other questions? Onward and upward.
Onward and upward.
Yep.
The next one is sanitation. Basically, most of that is our trash collection. And this reflects a 2% increase, I believe, from last year that Casella is willing to do us, and they have given me a 3-year proposal going forward from July 1st of this year for another 3 years, and I think it's 2% per year for those 3 years. And that's a decision the council needs to make, if you guys wanna keep doing that, or you wanna go back out to bids. I've had one contractor who's interested in bidding, so
What do you think, Paul?
I think we've had very, very good luck with Casella.
Yeah.
CMD
So
and.
we're not having any problems with that, so why don't we?
No,
start-
no more than we'd have with anybody else. I mean, every once in a while, they miss somebody's trash or whatever, and
Yeah.
we make a phone call, and they do the best they can.
If everything's going smoothly with
And
them.
they've stepped up to the plate this year where they've actually offered to add dumpsters to the large commercial properties. We've got 4 on Halifax, 2 condominiums and 2 rentals. They're putting dumpsters there at no charge to these people, so that we don't have those piles of trash on the side of the road on Monday morning.
Now, there's a proposal that you had spoken about last time that they're gonna have to have special cans that's gonna be lifted, they're not gonna
Well,
have
that was
anybody on
going,
the
that's
back of the
going the
truck.
one-armed bandit, and that's something that we had looked at. I know eventually the trash haulers would like to go that way because it's safer, there's nobody on the back of the truck, it saves their labor cost.
Is that what Casella's doing?
Not now.
Okay,
At this
so-
point, we're staying with just the way we're doing.
So that 3-year contract's gonna be for 25, 26, and 27?
Correct.
Okay.
So the contracts, I just want to make sure, it doesn't state anywhere that it's supposed to go out to bid though, right? Every 3 years?
No, we have nothing in our charter for bid requirements. And we had gone out to contract, to bids the first time when we stopped doing it ourselves. And since then, they've
And there
come
was a
up.
huge difference.
And there was, well, partly because at that point, we were due to buy a new truck, so a new truck was $400,000 on top
No,
of it.
but I mean, there was a huge difference between the bids that came in, if
That I don't remember.
I remember
I see too
correctly.
many numbers over the course of time, but
What's the name of the one that wants to put a bid in?
we've had Gregory's has called me a couple times,
Gregory's a reputable company too.
basically.
Should we look at that?
I haven't had good luck with
Just
them
leave it.
personally,
Oh,
but
you haven't? No, let's leave it with Casella's then.
as we're
You haven't
going
had good luck with them where?
both here in Winslow.
So we've used them.
Well, I've had conflict with them where they've done damage to nice brand new sidewalks and they wouldn't come good to fix them, and
Yeah. No, let's stick with
And I was,
Casella's.
and I was accused that the first time we went out to bids was under the table bidding, that it wasn't fair, and I know it was fair, I was here at the time, so,
And they're the ones that accused you?
yeah. So,
Okay. I guess that settles that.
but we'll come back at some point here in May or something, June, to get you guys to approve a contract for the next 3 years, and so this reflects the first year of that contract, the increase here, and
And then there's a 2% increase.
I believe so. I'd have to go back and look at the contract.
But the 2% is in this budget for
Correct.
upcoming.
Correct. Correct. You know, they want to keep us too. We're obviously a good customer. And going with them has saved us from what we originally, because when we first started doing it, when they first started doing it for us, we were hauling the trash to Norwalk. Because at the time, that's when Perk had closed and all that stuff. So when that contract with Norwalk ended, they started hauling to their transfer station, which saves them quite a bit of time. It's over just across the river in Waterville.
Yep.
Before, it was 2 hours to go to Norwalk and back.
Is that the airport road? Is
Yeah.
what's on, yeah.
So I mean, they're in business, but they basically claim that they've shared some of those savings with us that, made the price a little bit easier because they're not spending 12 hours on the road and only 8 or something, so. It's more efficient for everybody. I believe most of their trash right now is probably going up to Juniper Ridge in Old Town at the landfill, but that's their call. I know somebody has bought Perk and they're trying to get that up and running. So,
Really?
yeah. They've actually called me a couple times to try to get us to haul our trash, but we're really not set up to do it anymore. Before, when we did it, we were hauling to Oakland. Oakland would package it onto tractor trailers, and we had a hauler that would haul it up there, and that was all extra cost. So much a ton for the tractor trailer, so much a ton to use the Oakland transfer station, and now basically they pick up the trash, it goes to Waterville, and
Yeah.
pay one bill. And it's still not a perfect solution. Landfills are still not the perfect solution, but. So the rest of that, I mean, there's some slight increases, like the recycling fund is mostly We pay for iRecycle in Waterville over by Caswell's.
Yep.
He picks up our recycling, our residents are allowed to go there to bring their recycling if they want to recycle. We're paying him $1,500 a month to do that.
Do people know they can bring it
Oh,
there
yeah.
for free?
And a lot of people, there's a lot of people who go. There's a lot of people who are very, you know.
That cardboard and plastics and
Cardboard, he
things like
takes it
that.
all. Cardboard, plastic, cans,
Oh.
glass.
Does that have to be separated when we bring it over, Paul?
Yes.
Do you know?
Yes.
They
Yes.
have bins that we just help ourselves and unload, and it's pretty self-explanatory when you go over there.
I mean,
the
there's a lot
bins are
of
huge.
people are still very adamant that they want to recycle, so that gives them an option. And at least it's monitored. You know, when we tried to do it, like here at the library, that was just a nightmare because
Yeah,
there was trash mixed in.
there was everything in
It
there.
was everything, so. And then part of that recycling fund is also the containers we have out here for the food scraps.
Yeah,
We do the two here and we pick up the ones at the elementary school. We have containers at the elementary school that,
now the food scraps, can they be given to also the homeless shelters? Can that be given to them?
no, this is like food scraps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, It's not.
I'm talking about the school stuff.
The
that
school
they-
is mostly the food that they don't eat, that's already been served,
Yeah,
and then, you know, milk cartons and whatever, so.
will they're thrown away?
Yes.
So they don't go to the homeless shelter or anything like that? Why can't we?
I believe once they've gone on somebody's tray that
Oh, okay, that
they're,
explains it, yeah,
they're trash.
yeah.
So that increase in recycling, that because we're doing recycling more, or just his increase?
His increase has gone up. He was charging us $1,200 a month for about the last 4 years. And I go there myself, and I know him pretty well, and he was like, you know, do you think I could get a little increase? You know what I mean? Like everybody else, his costs have gone up, so if we don't want to lose them, I brought it up $300 a month. Because that's our only option we have for the residents here.
So how much more did it go up?
About $300 a month.
That's nothing.
So. And the bulky waste, most of the bulky waste is when we do our hazardous waste collection in October. That
Yeah.
costs us $8,000-9,000 depending, you know, how many people show up. And that's also a very well received, very well run program that gets all this stuff out of the trash, you know, chemicals and oils and paint and all that stuff.
Now, are we gonna have to dispose of some of the stuff that's coming from the junior high?
I'm working on that, and that's what I gotta reach out to DEP and find out where that stuff can go. Whether we can bury some of it, whether we have to haul it all to the landfill. It's definitely gonna make a difference on the cost.
You ain't kidding.
I'd like to be able to bury some of it, but,
Yeah, we got a pretty big hole there.
well, I was gonna bury it off-site. I hate to contaminate that site, and if you decide to do something later on.
Right.
And you
I
start digging in a hole that's full of concrete.
Yeah,
It
what are you
kinda-
talking about? Where to bury it?
I have a spot behind Public Works
Okay,
that we might be able to.
that hill?
Yeah, we might be able to
Backside?
do something there.
Oh, okay.
But if it's only the brick and we can't bring the cinder blocks because they're painted on the inside,
Mhm.
well, you know, it's not worth the effort to just peel the bricks off the building, you
Right.
know? If we can
Don't
bring,
people buy bricks? Certain people?
probably, but same thing. You make a big pile of bricks and they'll pick up a couple hundred and,
Somebody, you know, a lot of times when they took the cobblestone out of Waterville, out of the
Right.
roads over there, people were buying them. And they sold them all.
but it's like, you know, we start doing demolition, you know, you're gonna make a pile somewhere and then stop, or it's like, you know,
Yeah, just make it available. If they want to get it, they can take this with bricks, whatever they want to do, take the bricks. If they take 100, 200, whatever. There's a lot of bricks there.
yeah, I know, they won't make a big dent, but.
No,
So anyway, that's basically our public works budget. As far as operating expenses. Our capital's on page 53.
$53 or $51?
52 in yours, or 51, which page is it?
No, 51.
51,
51,
No, actually 52.
52.
52, sorry.
52.
Yes. Let's start the storm drains. reserve. Storm drains for now, I believe like it shows we still have 283,000 in that line item. We're asking for an extra 70 because most of that's gonna cover that project on the Cushman Road. And a couple other storm drain projects. I've got a small one on Halifax Street that I've got a collapsed storm drain. And I've got one out towards the pool place on the Augusta Road next to Lithgow Street. There's a 48-inch culvert there that's coming apart.
Is it Aquarius Pools?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm putting in for an MPI with the state. They'll pay half. They've pretty much given me,
So we have $283,000
Right.
remaining on that?
right.
Okay.
And we'd add another 70 to that. And the same thing, I mean, it's, we don't spend it, it doesn't go anywhere to be there next year. We have projects that pop up all the time of collapsed storm drain here or there, and unfortunately, these are projects that I can't do in-house because
Does that have red clay pipes there too?
No, the one on Halifax is I guess when they first started doing the plastic pipes.
Yeah.
They're single wall pipes
Oh,
instead of the double wall like we have now, and they've collapsed.
okay.
And I tried getting there this fall, and the timing wasn't there, but it's one of those projects that's beyond what we can do in-house. I gotta have a contract, because it's gotta be done quick. Somebody's gotta go in there and basically bang it out and get out of it, because Halifax is a little busy right now with the bridge closed, so.
Yeah, you think?
But the problem is that it's not taking water, and the water's going down towards the powerhouse and washing out that guy's driveway, so it's not like we can completely, ignore it either, so. But the state is pretty much committed to paying half of that cost, because it's a state road. I just have to send in the request properly worded. I mean, he's giving me a verbal okay, but they still need the paperwork, so that's something I'm working on.
Well, if it's their road, why don't they pay the whole thing?
No, it's in the compact zone, so maintenance falls on us, so it's.
Okay.
Do you mind if I just insert real quick? I have no idea where that 283,000 came from. I don't know who typed it in, but we actually only have 158,662 in that account.
Say it again,
Can
I'm
you
sorry, Katie.
Sorry,
Sure. 158,662.
Okay.
I don't see 283 anywhere.
It must have
Not
dropped
entirely
down from the
sure.
previous page. If you
I-
look at the previous
I don't know where
page.
it came from either, but,
Yeah, that's what I have.
It's a significant difference, I
283.
felt.
yeah.
I was
it's
just
quite
telling you it's
different.
wrong, that's all.
But that should give us enough for the match on that Cushman Road project or actually Robert Street.
I see that. Oh, yeah, I see it. So that one is.
Yeah, it's,
So are we still gonna have enough money there to pay our half for that?
yes.
Okay. What do you figure that's gonna cost?
They're about 120,000 apiece, but they're paying half, so that's 60 on us.
Okay.
And Robert Street's a 5% match, so even for a $1 million project, there's still only $50,000 on us, so
Okay.
I think we're good.
Those are the roads you plan on doing this year that you've got listed?
Yes, the surface on both Knoll Road and North Pond Road, which are the ones we based this year, they need to be surfaced. Because I kind of stole the surface from North Pond Road to put on to the Randall Road this fall because it was so beat up. I was afraid we wouldn't be able to plow it because last spring we were peeling pavement.
Oh, you're peeling it?
Yeah, so we did a cheap overlay this fall, so I
Just did an overlay, right?
did an overlay,
Yeah.
but it was the overlay, part of it was gonna go on the North Pond Road, so.
So now we have the North Pond Road to do this?
North Pond Road and half the Knoll Road has to be overlaid. And then Maple Ridge, full reclaim and pave like we've been doing the others.
That's being done this year too?
Being done this year, we started.
Yeah, I've had some people call me on that. I went up that road and it is like a washboard out there.
It's rough,
It's bad.
it's rough.
I can't imagine you guys plowing that thing.
We go slow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's one of the ones right now that's drifting the most too, so we're up there
Yeah,
a couple
those-
times a day
those
right now.
fields,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, when you get to those fields, there's a lot of drifting, but. And then we're hoping to do an overlay Patterson and Patty's Pond, but I don't know if we're gonna get there. And then a good chunk of this is 270,000 for that box culvert on the North Pond Road. That's a $470,000 project. We've got a $200,000 grant.
So you said you're not sure about Petty's Pond Road and,
No, because I had really started at $1,095,000. Ella took out about 60,000 to try to, get the budget down. And I'm fine if we wait another year, because I think I'd rather wait another year and actually be able to do a reclaim.
Patty's Pond Road isn't too bad.
It's not terrible,
No, it's nowhere near like Maple Ridge.
but Patterson's getting pretty rough too. And
Yeah, it is.
I am gonna go down this year and build a turnaround at the end of Patterson, because all these years, we've always been going around their house at the end.
Oh, yeah,
Reynolds.
yeah, Gary,
And
I mean,
they
we're
wanna
Reynolds.
They wanna pave their driveway this summer, and they would rather we not go around the house with our big plow trucks, and I can't say that I blame them.
Yeah.
And the school buses and everybody else, so I've talked to them about trying to get a little piece of land right next to that driveway and build a turnaround. We may have to pay for it. I haven't talked to them in a while, but.
That's Paul Reynolds.
That's actually his daughter, I think. Well, I've talked to Stephanie, so I don't know if that's.
Stephanie, yeah, that's his daughter-in-law.
Yeah. But they're receptive to it, I just haven't worked the details out.
Okay,
That I would like to do this year for sure, so we can get out of their yard. Can't say that I blame them.
Free plowing though.
Yeah,
Free plowing.
yeah, free plowing, but
Yeah,
I'm sure they don't appreciate us going around the
What
house
else
at
are you
2:00 in the
plowing?
morning. So that's the streets and resurfacing.
now that was under contract 3 years ago, wasn't it? These roads here were under contract to begin with, right?
Yes, they're in the paving.
We had a 3-year contract with
We're
Pike.
entering our third year with Pike.
Yep.
So after that, then you guys have to decide if we go back out for another multi-year contract. I mean, it's nice.
Yep.
The price is frozen for, you know where you're going.
Yep,
I mean, and it's not a fixed contract. If we don't do a road, they're not gonna come back after us to say you owe us money. It's just, these are the roads that we had thrown in as what we're thinking of doing.
okay,
But all they've done is basically locked in the price and on the mix.
okay.
But it's not a fixed, like, if we don't do all the roads, we don't owe them money.
Okay,
If you follow what I'm saying?
yep,
Unlike the salt, where they came back and had us buy 120 tons of salt last April or May. And the shed was full, so I go, okay, gotta find a place to put this salt here. Like I said, it's never happened to us before, but it's not gonna happen to us this year. No, the winter will get going. The next one down is PW equipment. That is basically, they're listed there, we're looking for a bigger water tank that we use in the spring. An extra plate compactor, because we have two, one of them is getting pretty tired and old. We have 2 grizzly screens, which we use when we screen like asphalt, we screen like right now, when we screen off the pile to mix winter sand, we have a grizzly to do that. There's basically a stationary screen. One of them is pretty well scrap metal at this point, so they run about 10 grand, so.
the screen, how long we had it, Paul?
That one's been here since before I came.
Yeah,
We bought a new one. Oh, time flies. Probably 6 years ago we bought a new one. Well, Mike Hebner was still here when we bought the other one. That's the newest one. The other one's older than that, so. They just wear out. And then I need a plow for my oldest, the single axle truck that plows in town.
yeah,
It's a 2008, 9, I think. Anyway, the plows just wore out. I mean, it's just, it moves in many places that it's not supposed to be moving. It's just, all the holes are wore out and the pins are wore out. It's tired. So
the
that's
plow itself?
the plow itself, yeah. I mean, the truck is fine, everything's good. It's just the plow's wore out.
What's the cost of that?
They're about 10 grand, they're $8,500, so those 4 items are about $44,000. Compared to what we had last year at 255, I think we brought that down.
What did we buy last year that was 255 opposed to 44 this year?
Last year,
We buy some trucks?
we bought, oh my God.
Your skid steer
We bought the skid steer.
Oh, yeah.
and
We bought a
trailer.
We bought a trailer.
Yeah. You scrapped out
We
the
bought,
old
we
trailer?
bought our crew cab, which I'm waiting to see any day here, to replace the one that we have, which we're gonna pass down to Parks Department, so we'll get rid of their 1995.
Okay.
Come on, that's a gem.
Yeah, it's gone. So, like I said, if we don't need something, we don't ask for it, but. The town garage part of it, that one, that $70,000 basically is to upgrade our fuel system, to add an extra gas tank, an extra 6,000 gallon tank, and update our gas dispenser. Because basically now, with the school department going all gas buses, my little 3,000 gallon tank is getting a little undersized. We're ordering fuel almost every week, so it's kind of a lot of work for the guys to keep track of it. So we've talked to the fire marshal, we've talked to our distributors, and adding a 6,000 gallon tank next to it is not a big deal. We can get the permits to do that. So that would give us 9,000 gallons of gas, 9,000 gallons of diesel. Because back when the system was put in, everything was diesel, and everybody's going away from diesel on the smaller stuff. You know, our new ambulances, gas. And
So that's gone up up to 70,000 from 25 from last year?
yes. And that's, I believe, the system is about $60,000 by the time you get the tank. I mean, just the dispenser pump is about $25,000 for one of those pumps.
Really?
Yeah. And I'd like to update that one and put a 2 hose, 'cause our gas pump right now is only a 1 hose system, so when 3 buses show up, they all have to wait to use the same hose, so it'd be nice to have a 2 hose system like the diesel is, so that, you know, they can get in, get out, and the fuel cap reserve is basically, we charge 5 cents, Sherry? We charge 5 cents per gallon to all of our customers. That goes into this reserve to help capital costs, which obviously it doesn't generate a whole lot of money. Because that's the only line item we have to pay for any repairs on the fuel system. I don't have another line item for, you know, fuel system repairs. So like if I get a technician up here to fix a pump, you know, that's $1,000, comes out of the fuel cap reserve. It'd be nice if we could raise that up a little bit and generate a little bit more revenue. I know we're taking it from Peter to pay Paul, but, you know, every department uses fuel, so. But that's what that fuel cap reserve, that's why there's no money being raised. It's whatever we generate.
Has that been used in the past? I mean, have we used it all up in the past?
It generates, I don't know what it generates, $4,000 a year probably.
If that.
Not a whole lot. And like I say, we get a technician up here to do like we had to have him come up and calibrate our pumps because our auditor realized that our fuel in versus fuel out wasn't very close. And the auditors do check that, so, you know, just having him come up here and calibrate those pumps and whatever, I'm sure we spent $1,000 just to get these guys up here, you know. These are specialists in travel time and mileage and whatever you had to
But that
do.
doesn't happen all the time.
No, but
I know.
it's not a big line, you know, like I said, there's not a lot of money in that line item if we do have a problem.
We've spent $2,500 so far for repairs this year.
So,
So Paul, after he calibrated that, was it right back to,
it's really close. He said, I forget what he said, if we're within 2%?
Yeah.
I think we're within
It's rough.
2%, because, you know, it fluctuates, I mean, between the temperature and the gas, it swells and whatever. But he says, if you can get it within 2%, you're usually accurate enough.
okay,
Because ours are never really calibrated, because we're not commercial, or I should say retail. Like, if you go to a gas station, you'll see a sticker on
Yeah.
it. They're calibrated every year, because they're doing retail. We don't do retail, so we've never calibrated them. But when we started doing the numbers of how much fuel we've bought and how much fuel went to each department, there was a big discrepancy on the gas side. And, you know,
Thanks.
he's set up to be able to do it like the gas stations, you know, he's got like a 5-gallon can, and he couldn't even get 5 gallons into it, that he was already overflowing, so that means we were giving more gas than what we were charging for.
Oh, that's not
I mean,
good.
it's all in-house, it's all in town, I mean, it's not like we're giving it to somebody else, but the numbers are still not there, you know?
Right. So how much do you want to bump that up to?
It'd be nice if we could bring that up to 10 cents per gallon or something and double it up and generate a few more revenues so that when we,
Double it.
you know. I mean, the big project is that $70,000 in the town garage budget, that's the gas system, so.
Mm.
But this is the money to do
I mean, do we wanna raise it to 10 cents, or do we wanna add a line item and start putting a little bit of funds in there?
Thing is, that I hate to add a line item like under Public Works, because then we're the ones that technically are always paying for the repairs, and we're not the only ones using it. At least this way here, everybody's contributing to it. So if we could raise it to 10 cents a gallon for this year and see what it generates,
And
What
it's
is
5
it, what
cents.
is it now?
5 cents a gallon,
How long's it been, 5
since
cents?
I've been here.
I'm so sorry, what?
Since I've been here. Well,
But we've never gone over though, right?
no, but when I first started, we were paying it out of the Public Works budget. And I kinda like, that's not really fair. Why is my budget being penalized that we're not the only ones who use the system? You know, the school department buys, and I'm not throwing them under the bus, they buy as much fuel as we do. So it'd be nice to share the pain a little bit. And if something comes up that, you know, the system blows up and we have to spend some big money, then we'll come back and see you and do what we can to make things right, you know? But if we could bring that up to 10 cents a gallon for this year, that would be very nice. I don't know if we need to do something,
I'm fine with that.
I don't know if we have to do an order or anything. I don't think there's anything written anywhere anyway. It's a surcharge that's, when Sherry does the monthly fuel report, there's a little line item that adds 5 cents per gallon to the bill, so,
So with that, going from 5 to 10 cents, double the figure that you got in there now?
yeah. It'll help.
I'm just concerned that you said if the school uses as much fuel as Public Works does, if they're gonna have a problem with that. I mean, that's gonna be, you know, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but I mean, they're tightening their belts pretty tight, and
Oh, I realize that, but
Jerry, do you have any idea how much a school has used?
Fuel?
Yeah, or what their fuel charge
The
is?
surcharge, if you give me a few minutes, I can go back and I'll look at last fiscal year.
I mean, I think we're doing,
So everybody's doing 5%, right, Paul?
correct,
So everybody's gonna go up,
yes,
and you're doubling.
yes.
And that will bring you in an extra $1,700. So if
Yeah.
that's spent, if
Well, that's
that's,
what's in that account right now, yes.
yes.
It's not what's been raised, we've already spent some.
And that money's used for what again?
It's for the maintenance of the fuel system, whether a pump or filters or,
I mean, it's not a big amount of money, and it goes in everybody's budget, so we'll
Correct.
just have to shuffle stuff around, right?
Right.
Because everybody's gonna be getting the same hit.
right. I mean, it might be, I don't know, it might be $500 to the police department or something like that. I mean, don't hold me to that number, but it's not huge amounts of money, they don't burn. The big ones is us and the school.
Especially with the schools all gas now, right?
Right.
They may bark at the doubling of it, so go up to 7 instead of 10. Can always do that as well.
Well, what's that number about, Jerry? We talking $1,000 or 10,000?
Hold on, I'm adding.
No idea.
I mean, it's still a good deal for them compared to going out
You
to.
just wanna know what they spend on the surcharge.
Yeah, what was their surcharge last year?
Hold on,
Last fiscal? year?
yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
UCAP's reserve, that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yes,
1166.
yes. We've never actually put capital money in there, it's just whatever we generate. That's why it's zero, so,
And that's because you do all the work over there, but all of these, all different departments
correct,
use it.
correct.
So correct me if I'm wrong, so there's 11,500 in there that's currently in that capital account. That's
Okay.
all from those fuel surcharges though,
Okay.
right?
Yep,
It looks like it's about 2,000 to 3,000 a month, I mean a year, sorry, not a month.
How much did you say was in there?
Allows 11,530 cents.
Katie, that 2,000 to 3,000, is that what the school pays?
No, that's all departments.
Well, if we have 11,000 in there now, and we're doubling it.
I didn't think we had that much money into it, but,
And we've never used it before, I can't see why we have to raise it.
Well, we use it every year, because we do inspections every year, we do,
Yeah, but you still have an excess of 11,000.
yeah, I don't.
But that
I kinda
11.5
question
has
that
built
one.
up over time, hasn't it, Paul?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
and that's at 5 cents.
Paul, where did you think that money was? How much?
I didn't think we had that kind of money in that account. The last time I saw budget figures, we were pretty broke.
It looks like per order 8-2024, no idea what that was. We transferred in $5,000. Without actually
Okay.
doing the research, though, I don't know where that
Okay,
came
that must
from
be,
or
that
why.
must be something we did last year, just to bump that up to get some money in there.
And you don't use it often? Or you know what
No.
it's
It's hard to tell, I mean,
Depends
if we
on
have a
what things
problem, we
break.
call a technician, I mean, we did have to change part of our, what they call the Petrovent system, the system that does the measuring how the quantities and prints out all that, the volumes, everything. We did have to upgrade that because it pretty much died. And that
Well,
was-
I would say that if you got 11.5-ish in that account, I mean, putting in that new tank would definitely justify a little bit more. I mean, I would think maybe you could bump it up to maybe 7.5 cents instead
I'm
of.
fine, I'm fine with that,
You're fine with any kind of increase.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but, I mean, we gotta justify that, the cost of that new tank,
Right.
and
Well, the new tank is coming out of that other
That's right.
account, isn't
Yeah,
it, Paul?
That's right.
It is.
Right, but you gotta account for the maintenance on it down the road, wear and tear issues,
I mean,
recalibrating
we
it.
ended up having to change a hose this winter because somebody took off with the hose.
still, I mean, it's a good way to
Anything.
spread
I
it
think
out.
that
and-
5,000 was last year's budget,
Yeah.
from what I can tell.
Okay.
It came in from 5,000 last year's budget?
Yes.
I think they added that 5,000 as a capital item, just that one shot time, one time.
I think it was because of the key system or something was breaking down.
I mean, we put a new key system in, again, probably 5, 6 years ago now, but,
I remember something, I just don't
yeah.
remember.
Like I say, we can spend a couple $1,000s really quick if we have a problem, but I just wanna make sure we have some money to work with. I didn't realize we had quite 11,500, but.
Yeah, where we have that, I'd say keep it the way it is.
Yeah, we'll keep it the way it is now, we'll try not to.
Well, you got a fuel cap reserve plan, Paul, for the next 5 years. It probably started last year, where we did put $5,000 in.
You were remembering more than I did then. Okay,
Well,
yeah.
it's
No,
in the-
No, I see it there in the capital items. And that's the council's call, if you guys wanna keep doing that, or we just,
So I would really have to look into this a little bit further, but I think that what we put for the capital item is different from what we charge the departments for surcharges.
correct,
So,
but it all goes in that same account, so.
right. So we can still raise that amount.
But I think the biggest part of our projects are gonna be on that $70,000 line item.
Yeah.
With the tank and the pump.
Yeah,
That should get us good for another couple of years.
yeah.
So are we good keeping it the same, or what did you guys?
Let's keep it the same and not stir the pot, and then we have to for this year, I guess.
Okay.
Next one below that is our sewer department CSO. Every year, we put $200,000 into the capital from the sewer department, and just ongoing projects, ongoing repairs, pump
That's,
station.
that's flat, right?
Yeah, that's flat, we've been doing that since I've been here. And then the last one that's, I guess is mine, is the one under the parks. The maintenance equipment is $72,000 to replace their little 1995 little one-ton dump truck, the little white one, with a new one.
I'm sorry, did you say for Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, the one that says maintenance equipment, 53919 underneath.
Mm-hmm.
That's 72,000, that's to replace their last old truck. And get them a little
How
gas
old's
power.
the truck we have now?
1995.
95?
It's tired.
Yeah.
Can't get out of its own way.
It's the same one we had when I worked there.
Yeah.
05.
So like I said, we got rid of the rack body this year, and we're gonna give them the Public Works one, which is a 2015, so that'll get them by for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And then get them a little dump
30
truck.
years old, yeah, must be getting tired.
Yeah,
They don't get the new one.
You're gonna keep the new one then?
I am, because I use the new one every day.
Only makes sense.
What say you, Amanda?
We only use it in the summer.
Yeah?
I still like the old ones.
But
though.
the little dump, I mean, it wouldn't be anything like our 1 tons, it would be just a regular, 3,500 little dump body, single cab, compared to our big Super Duty Fords that we run with the plows.
Yeah.
A lot different in price. Gas job,
So that's at 72,000?
yeah, that's complete with the dump body and everything.
I think we need to replace it.
And that would pretty much bring Parks Department up to modern specs for the equipment. She bought a new pickup a couple years ago, so they'd have some good equipment for another 10 years, 15 years.
Or 50.
Or 50, or 30.
Give her the new one, it'll last forever, won't it?
Did you end up selling that red one?
I did.
You didn't have to pay him to take it?
No, I got, I don't know, I sent that out with the budget, I don't know, we got $4,800 for it, I think.
Hey, he's a better businessman. Yeah.
Give them a warranty on it, Paul?
Hell no.
Taillight warranty.
Yeah.
Till I can see the taillights.
And we will be having, obviously, when fire gets their utility up and running, we'll get rid of that one, sell that one out, the old one. And I would like to get rid of the little Toyota that we had as a code car too,
Well, that one there, the heads are gone on it, isn't it?
that, supposedly, yeah.
And that's diesel.
Yeah. But I'm sure somebody's interested and somebody who can fix it themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna keep it around, so. And-
So we're back onto the truck.
Yeah.
Are we good with that?
Yep.
You think we can make that other truck last another 30 years?
Josh is the one who kept those trucks running, not me. He's a miracle mechanic, so.
That's good.
I can't speak for Amanda, but I won't be around through 30 years, that's for sure.
Why?
I'd be really old by that time. I'd be centenarian, or whatever you wanna call it. Yep. That's pretty much it, I believe, on my budget. I don't know if you wanna look at revenues. We don't have a whole lot of revenues either. Katie would have to tell me where they are.
Find it first.
Page.
Don't we usually go through all the revenues later on?
We can,
That's
because
what we always
we
do.
didn't do the other ones the other night. We didn't do fire and police, so.
That's usually like a night.
Yeah, we usually do all of them at one time.
Yep.
Well, the way that we had organized these workshops, and it's entirely up to you if that's how you want to do it, is we were going to review the operating revenues and the capitals all with the departments individually, and then come back to capitals, I believe the last workshops. It's entirely up to you if that's what you want to do. Like Paul said, all of the department heads will be coming back to finalize the capitals anyway, so if you want to do it then, you can feel free.
Well, we didn't do it last time. With police and fire.
Makes no difference to me.
We
I'm
can
here
do it
anyway.
all together one night. That's.
Yeah, doesn't matter to me.
It won't take very long. I don't think anybody has huge amounts of revenue, so.
So where are we at now?
I think at this point, then it would be Amanda's turn to do her budget, I guess. We're all set with Public Works and sewer and everybody else.
Page 34.
What page?
34.
Thank you.
So my overall budget went down like 3,000, mostly because stuff was moved over to Paul. I don't know if you guys want to go line by line, or,
Yeah, go line by line.
all right.
I don't think I'm gonna follow you.
So just so everyone's aware, obviously administrative salary is me. Regular salaries, I kept a small portion because when we do special events, or if I have multiple big events going on, I hire high school kids to help facilitate and manage. So that's like miscellaneous money for when I have those events going on. Summer programming salaries, that's the salaries for all of our counselors for summer fun camp. That's the only program that I have that the taxpayers help fund. That's the 6-week program in the summer for kids going in from 1st grade through 6th grade. They come 5 days a week. We give them breakfast and lunch and enrichment activities, and then they go home with their parents, and it's 6 weeks. It's for the taxpayers, and it only costs them $125 for the 6 weeks. So it's a great program for the residents, but that's the only program I run that the taxpayers help fund. All my other programming is not funded by taxpayers. Winter program salary, same thing. My winters are actually in some ways busier than my summers because I have less help and more going on in the nights and weekends. So when I have to run multiple gyms or we have a busy tournament or games, I'll hire a high school kid to run the scoreboard, or I live and breathe by these high school kids because they're minimum wage employees and they're great, and they're also usually Winslow kids themselves, so I kind of feel like it's all kind of in the family.
The minimum wage now is what, $14.75?
It just went up to
14 something.
something, yeah. It just went up.
Yeah.
I'm not paying anyone right now, so I haven't paid attention, but,
Okay.
and that is why some of these went up, is because minimum wage increased. But I would be lost without my high school kids, so. Contractual services, that is our toilets, our portable toilets at the parks, playgrounds, and fields. That's sports fields management, that's the aeration, fertilization, grass seed, everything that goes into keeping the turf. That's, I pay for half of the dumpster out behind the town office. That's also my contract. We all pay a portion of the IT contract, and that's what that is.
Is that through Casella's, the dumpsters?
Yeah, we just
Are the
switched.
porta
Yeah,
potties?
we've been doing AAA, and then we switched to them last year.
Okay,
Yeah, and I will say it's been a great transition.
good.
So, I don't really have any vehicles or radio maintenance anymore. Fuel, building maintenance. We had put it at 10,000 because the rec center needed some significant work this year. And then we put it back down to 1,000 because we're not anticipating any major issues. So it used to be 1,000, went to 10 this past year, and then we brought it down to 1. And speaking with Ella, her recommendation though, because it's such an aging portion of the building and we're having holes when they've come out, have said that we have some plumbing that's getting extremely old and tired. We're at risk for having an issue down the road, so we did start a capital line item. I think I was the only one who didn't have a building capital line item, so we did start that, and you'll see that in capital.
Okay.
But that's why that's down, and I don't use it unless I need it, so. Electricity has gone up, but I can't control much of that, unfortunately. We have electricity at a lot of our fields. We have, outdoor lighting, more for security and vandalism than anything else. And I pay for the lights at the gazebo, like all those lights is what's in there. Water fee, same thing. We have water access on a couple of fields, and we pay a minimal charge through the water district, whether we use it or not. So that's
Not a bad deal.
I mean, I was shocked when I got when we have the really wet summer? Was it 2 years ago? I got a bill from them, and I said, this can't be right. And they said, no, that's your minimal, even if you don't use the water, like that's the charge, so. Miscellaneous supplies, did go up a little bit, mostly because before I used to have, like a park maintenance budget. So if I need to go buy zip ties to fix a net on a soccer field, if I need to go buy any little small miscellaneous maintenance items, it was, that way I can still do those things since most of the maintenance is under Paul now. My dues and seminars, I went to $250, and that's my membership to the Maine Parks and Rec Association and the National Parks and Rec Association and things like that. And postage $50, which I don't think I've ever gone over, so.
Looks good.
Any questions on that part?
Amanda?
yes.
I don't know if it's in here or if it's in here at all. Any money for flags?
Oh, thank you for saying that. Actually, there's a note here, so thank you for bringing that That this does not include the flag situation. So Jason Fitch has been amazing at volunteering. Like, he's a very gracious, generous person, and he has been my person to help facilitate volunteering to take stuff up and down. But when he gets busy or he has equipment break, it kind of puts us in a position of needing to hire somebody. So what I'm hoping to do is Robbie Pomelo, he's a arborist in Winslow. He helped Jason over a couple of years. He has offered for like $400 to use his equipment in his truck to put up our banners and take the banners down. I think it's a great deal and something we should do. We started the Hometown Hero banner project this year. We've had more applications come in for the winter, so we're gonna have more Hometown Hero banners. So I would like to just pay Robbie to do it. And we have no flags that are usable to go back up. So if we want more flags, that would have to be purchased, and I've never bought in the flags or the banners. I'm not sure what fund those came out of. It's never been in my budget. I'm happy for it to be there. I just would need some direction on what you guys wanted to do.
Those flags came out of, oh, you know more about that than I do maybe, the town manager's discretionary fund. The town manager has $20,000 that they can spend on whatever they want.
And I do know, like,
That's
Erica.
where the flags
Yeah,
come
Erica
from,
said she
and-
had like a fund, and I never
That's where
understood the fund, but,
That's where the flags and banners came from.
yeah,
Because all of that stuff, if you remember, was bought spur of the moment.
yeah.
When did we spend on the flags before? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Yes. Taking out what was donated, I think we spent $4,000. We had 40 flags and they're about $100 a piece for the flag, the holder, and the thing that goes on the pole.
Do we
The
need to
whole flag.
replace the whole thing, or just?
Well,
the
I don't
flag?
know. That's
It's
what-
just, so I actually used my budget last year and replaced the swivels, which was like $200 or $300. I just used my miscellaneous. But the flags are not usable, so we'd have to get new flags, I think. The Hometown Hero banners cost the taxpayers nothing. So, and the Winslow flag banners are still in great condition. So it's basically, if we wanna put more American flags up, and then also paying someone to do it.
Are you thinking $4,000?
I honestly, I would love to give you an answer on how much, I can do
But
some research and
that-
find out.
That
how
was
much-
buying 40 flags or 45. At that time, it was only flags up on every pole. from-
Right, and now we do, the flags weren't feasible on the bridge because of the
That's right.
weather, so now we do banners, and now we have Hometown Hero banners, which last year Jason did a great job, he did like a flag, Hometown Hero banner, a flag, and it looked really nice. So we don't need that many flags.
No.
So I would say a couple thousand,
No.
no?
Oh,
Including,
dollars you mean.
Yeah, yeah. So can
We
we,
go from the town office to Courtney's and up to Walgreens. There's, don't quote me exactly, 40 some odd telephone poles.
but I don't think the vision was necessarily to put one on every single pole, just because it's a lot to
Yeah.
maintain.
So, well, if you divide that by 3, with 3
Yeah.
different banners, then that's what you're looking at, maybe 1,000 flags. Excuse me, if they're, no, I think they're, if the flag poles and the equipment to put them on the pole are there, then you can get a flag, a good flag for $50.
So I think everything else, I bought those replacement
Yeah.
parts for the poles are fine, so I think it's just the flags.
And those little
And the
white
cost
things
would
that
be
the
seven-
flags hooked to, you can
Right.
get those at Home Depot or anywhere for $2 a piece. Because those will break every year.
And
So-
dry out.
But
did you say you
50
had somebody?
Yes,
That would
I
be-
have someone and it's all set, I just didn't know where the most appropriate place to put that in the budget. Is it Parks and Rec? I have no idea. And if it is, I'm happy to have it there, I just didn't know the best way forward.
What do you think, Paul?
I think it's for the town. You ought to have it, take it right out of the town manager's little private
Yeah,
account.
that's, I guess, I don't know, that, I wasn't aware that fund was in there with the town manager. I haven't looked at the town manager's budget, so.
So I can speak on that. That's under, I believe, community services. It's the contingency fund. It's not really the town manager's account. That is a fund that is just there for any very
Community.
unexpected expenses.
Like a community thing?
How much is in that account?
We always
Oh,
put
we-
20,000 in there.
20,
Typically, we
yeah.
don't touch that, but it's a just-in-case fund.
Well, you can designate $2,000 for flags to come out of the contingency fund.
Okay, this year she has 10,000 in that. 20.
Oh, did she
10?
decrease
Yeah.
it?
It's usually been 20.
It's on page.
I don't think
Yeah.
we've
Page
ever
38.
used the full amount out of that.
We haven't.
How much
No,
did you
I
say
can
was
see.
in there, Paul? 10 or
10.
20?
10.
She was proposing 10 this year,
Okay.
Well, you can leave it at 10.
but I don't know what's in there
And-
now.
and earmark.
$2,000 will get you 40 flags.
It's not capital.
Plus, you're gonna have to pay the person to
It's
do
not
it, so give her
capital.
We'll
three.
start at 10,000.
Give her three.
Okay, so it starts at 10.
You gotta pay the person
Are
to
they
do it.
charging to put them up and take them down, and
Right.
then again, I think they
It'd be,
did it
it'd
in
be
two
charged to
things.
put it up
Yeah.
and then charge them to take them down after Veterans Weekend.
Yeah, but they usually, with the banners, there are some wintertime banners or springtime banners.
Well, that leads me to, do we still wanna do the winter ones too? Because
Yeah.
it wouldn't be an extra cost to put one up while you're taking one down, but there would be an extra cost to take down the
Okay,
winter
that's the
ones.
thing.
And is that a good use?
So that
Money, I
would
don't
be
know.
$400 a year
Right, to do the patriotic
to
ones,
do
the banners and the flags,
the banners and the flags and yours, the
the hometown hero
The
banners.
military ones.
Yeah,
So what's it gonna cost us for labor on that?
nothing, would be paying Robbie to do it, so
Oh.
Robbie and his people would do
Well, you
it.
don't need 50 flags anyway, you only need,
So we
think
should
it's
earmark
45
maybe
telephone poles.
$2,500?
Yeah,
and divide that by 3.
25.
That's 15.
So that's 15,
25.
so that's only 7, and at $50 a flag,
750.
750. So you don't need more than 1,000, leave some in there for, you're gonna have to replace flagpoles on occasions, because they do break in the wind. Put 1,000 in for flags out of the contingency fund. And then take that 400 out of that contingency fund too,
Okay,
to do it, so
I just want to make sure there's
I just
enough
said
in there.
1,400.
1,400?
call it 1,500 out of the contingency fund.
Yeah, that
I'd-
sounds good.
I
I'd
will
say-
say, I'm
I'd
not
say
sure
2,000.
where she actually took those flags out of, but I'm not seeing them back, I
That
just
would
looked
have
back to
been back in
2020.
Erica's first year here.
Yeah, I just looked back to 2020, I don't see it in there. I'm
And it
not
would have
saying it's a
been-
bad
It would
idea,
have been
but
paid for in,
I
I don't know
either.
where, what happened there.
I just know they showed up at the rec center.
it would have been paid for before July 4th of Erica's first year here.
Could it have been from the COVID money?
No.
No, I don't know. I just knew that she mentioned to me she could use those funds because of economic development, or that because it,
No,
I don't know.
and it didn't even go before the council, she just took it out of that fund,
Yeah,
which that's what it's for.
I could track it back, it's not out of there, but I'm not saying that you can't, I'm just saying
yeah.
she must have
Okay.
changed her mind to something
But
else.
we agree with $1,500.
Is that what we stopped at?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that works.
Yeah, give or take.
But that's not added to this, that's coming out of the earmark for the contingency
Yeah,
fund.
contingency fund.
Do we need
And
to vote on that, or is it good, just to go, or
You're
what?
not changing anything in the budget, you'll just have to remember in the future
I
that that's
wrote
where
it.
we decided to
I mean,
take
to
it
take
out.
the
a
money
note.
in the first place. Do we have to?
Well, that's actually the town manager's call,
Okay.
because it's the contingency that they can use for whatever
Comes
they
out of
really
his-
want.
Yeah, that comes out.
Paul,
of his-
do we have your permission, Paul?
Sure.
So for my capital, I would like to apologize that I didn't catch something, and you guys can decide what you want to do about it. So for rec development, I had thought I had told Ella I want to keep all my capital the same, which would have meant that 25,000 would have gone into that, and nothing was allocated to go into that. Right now, there's about 109,000 in that capital account, which sounds like a lot of money, and some of you have already heard this spiel, so I apologize. We have a lot of very, very old equipment. We have 3 full playgrounds. So I have promised the people over in the neighborhood by Norton to get some new equipment. We have postponed that and postponed it for our infrastructure project that was supposed to go through the playground. It didn't make sense to buy a $70,000 piece of equipment to pull it back out. Well, now the plan has changed and that infrastructure is gonna move to the other side of Norton, so we will be doing playground equipment this summer. The plans that we had are about $100,000. So that's gonna drain that capital account. So if we don't fund it, I'm zeroing it out with that project we've been planning for a few years at Norton. And that doesn't allow to start building up towards the next piece of equipment or something that needs to be fixed. For example, Trevor had a bunch of vandalism or issues he dealt with down at Delaire, and that's probably gonna be a few $1,000s to fix. So it's up to you guys. I know it's a tough year, but we have 3 playgrounds in Winslow, all with older equipment. So it's up to you guys if you wanna put some money into that, or you wanna just start funding it again next year.
How much are you looking to?
I mean, usually, back when I first started, like 9 years ago, we only funded at 3,000 to 5,000 a year, which was not enough. So we've been doing 20 to 25 a year for the last few years. So it's whatever you guys want to do. Unfortunately, playground equipment's extremely expensive. I mean, even to replace the widgets on a bridge is $500. Like, it's just, it's really expensive.
Well, Amanda, with this 100,000, or give or take, that you have in your capital expense account now, you're buying equipment for the playground equipment for that.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
a
that's
done deal.
allocated for. I've
That's a
been
done deal.
squirreling that away since I started.
So after this summer, you're gonna have zero.
Zero.
And I think most people know that the condition of our playground equipment is not very good.
It's getting better.
Yes, it's getting better over the years because we've put money into it
Yeah.
over the years. And when you first came here, what did it look like?
It was bad.
And that was how long ago?
9 years of summer.
And we're slowly starting to get to almost to see the end of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just afraid if we stop now, then that's just gonna be something that's been kicked down the road again. And our playground equipment is gonna go down. Now, when you realize that it's the kids using these equipment, and they're getting more use because the numbers of kids are going up in this town, from what I've been told. And, you know, with some of the equipment, you look at it, there's some liability issues there too.
And I will say, like, Carl did a great job. Like, we went through, we identified a lot of the liability, and we started pulling that equipment out, but then you just start having complaints because you're pulling stuff out and not replacing it with something else.
Yeah, we took a swing set out.
Right.
And we replaced one piece down at the 107.
Right.
That was a new piece to put in. And same thing, I think, am I wrong in saying that the insurance company was kind of.
Yeah,
pushing
no,
us
I
for
went
that?
through with the insurance company, and he identified some issues, and then I went through with an actual playground inspector that's what they're trained for, and then he identified a lot more issues than we thought we had. So, but Norton is the next big project because, I mean, those folks in that neighborhood have wanted it, they've asked for it, and I've been promising it for at least 4 or 5 years, so.
So that's where you're putting that new equipment.
That new equipment, the next one's going to Norton, and it's, you know, you go there any day for a baseball game, that field is just filled, and then all the siblings are running off to the playground equipment, and there's a soccer game going on, it's just a very busy complex.
I think playgrounds are a big part of, there's not much in this community for children to go play. There really isn't. Playgrounds are very important, and I think you should put what you need to put towards it.
Would you be happy, Amanda, if we continue that 25,000?
I mean, I think that's the best number personally, just because I was shocked, like, when I got the new quotes from 4 years ago, how much they had gone up. And just knowing that, you know, things do break, and I think that's the best number to fund it at, but I know you guys have tough decisions to make.
When you say the best number, what do you mean?
I think 25,000, knowing how much equipment costs to replace it, knowing in the next 5 years, like, one of those, the bigger units at Delaire Street in the next 5 to 10 years, that's the end of its life, and that would need to be replaced or removed. Knowing that the swings have to be replaced every 5 to 6 years, like just looking at what we have in inventory and what's coming up to be replaced.
My question is that enough for you?
I think so.
You want 50,000?
Well, no, I think 25 is enough. I think 25 is enough.
Give her 100.
And I always try to, you know, every time I'm ready to buy equipment, I look for grants too. You know, I've been able to get small grants that have paid at least for the shipping portion, so I always try to look for the free money first.
Well, thank you
You
for
do the
doing that.
grants?
So
You do
are
all
you
the
good with
grants?
25?
I do try to get grants. I mean, I'm a cheap person. I try to stay cheap, so
We'll say frugal.
frugal, conservative, whatever you want to call it.
In that case, Amanda, if you're happy with 25, I'll propose that we add 25 to that account.
As you said, I mean, the stuff is getting older.
Capital expense
We pulled out a
for-
swing set at Delaire this year. That was a homemade swing set from,
Where do we take that money from where it wasn't put into the budget to begin with? Where do we take it out of?
well, they've been putting money in, like last year.
Oh, it's not in the
25,000.
budget.
But yeah, but it's not in the budget this year.
Right.
And that was kind of my point. Like, if you want to wait until next year when I can put it back in, it's up to you guys.
I mean, it's
always
just a
worry
matter of
with-
adding $25,000 to this line. It's not a
The
big
money
to-do.
comes from-
I bet Katie can do it in like 20 seconds or less.
It's already done,
See?
pending an official or unofficial vote.
Which
Just-
fund, you took it out of the general fund?
No,
No.
I just plug it in and it probably won't touch your mill rate,
Okay.
but it just raises the
Sure.
expenditures by
That
that much.
won't change the mill rate, 200s.
I'll actually check.
While she's checking, just to go through my other ones, like Paul mentioned, maintenance is now under him. Sports track, I give 5,000 a year, the school gives 5,000 a year. It's a shared use track that's town-owned and school-owned. It's a collaboration. And so we just put that money away because every 2 to 5 years it needs resurfacing, it needs major maintenance. So that's just what that is. It's a shared expenditure. And then,
I was to say the school came up with different funding. What does that mean?
okay, so I don't know why that's in there, but the last big.
Isn't that last year's
So last
comments?
year's big resurface ended up costing like double what was estimated to cost. And the school ended up picking up the whole bill for us. So that I didn't have to spend anything out of my capital account the last time we resurfaced. Which is why I didn't increase, because the 5,000 really isn't enough, but because I didn't have to pay for the last bill, I can stick with the 5,000.
Right, right.
And then for Halifax Park, is just, I mean, it's one of our biggest assets, and that's just to keep maintaining it.
Sure.
And then the one thing I did add, the town forest, as you guys know, like, I've done a lot of work down there. We've gotten some grants. Paul and his people did amazing things down there for us. And I'm still working on another grant, but we're putting all this into there to build the trails, a trailhead, a parking lot, and so we're gonna have to create some kind of capital improvement for down the road when we want to maintain what we're putting in there. I'm really trying hard to make sure, I mean, up to this point, it hasn't cost the taxpayers any money directly. So I would just like to show that we're willing to maintain the work we're putting out there. The other part to that is some of the grants I'd like to go for, you have to show that your town supports the project, and this is a way to show that the town supports it.
Sure.
Well, those matching grants usually,
Some of them are, but some of them are 100%. So, and there's actually like people that's not the fad right now, but there is a lot of money out there for trail development. You know, it's part of economic development. It brings people to your community. It's outdoor living. It's lifestyle. So
So are you gonna do the grants for that?
yeah, well, we're in the middle of one right now. We already have one that we're doing the trailhead for, and then Rocky Gravel and I are starting one to work with the trail master to finalize the trail system. Mr. West over there is gonna build us some benches for it. So
So how big is a grant are you looking for?
the one I'm looking for right now is 75,000.
Wow.
Nice.
So. And I don't know if the 1804 schoolhouse counts as me, but it used to. So that's just to
I
maintain.
guess somebody has to bring it up, I guess.
Yeah, someone like that's what we put a couple thousand in there just for maintenance, and I don't think we haven't really touched it. We just got that grant for redoing the roof.
how much was that grant for?
The
25.
20 something, 20,000, 25,000.
And what was that's for the roof?
That's the
Yes.
roof.
And
Did it
the
cover-
estimate was right around there?
Yeah, it's a 100% grant.
Oh, it is, I thought,
No, it was 100% for the architectural engineering for it, and then I believe it was 100% for the roof.
Yeah, I think so.
What kind of roof are they putting on there? Was it shingles or slate?
It's the cedar.
Cedar shingles.
It was trying to
Cedar
keep.
shingles?
It's trying to keep we went through the historical route to keep
Yeah.
the historical, and they approved it.
So it's all cedar shingles.
Historically accurate cedar shingles.
So the first
Okay.
time we were denied the grant because it was not historical
There is a
enough.
difference.
Yeah, it is a difference.
So
Okay.
you got that number, Katie?
Yes, the mill rate is at 14.79. That includes the changes that were made at the last budget workshop, most of which kind of washed out.
And it was 14.77 before today?
Yes.
I thought the mill rate was 15.
The current mill rate is 15.
Right.
He means before you guys started making the changes that you did.
I was trying to, my chair fit was too long.
And just as a note, Tanya is bored enough to be watching from home, and she figured out where the flags came out of. They came out of the Economic Development TIF account, which we do have money in as well.
Right.
What's that there? Is that it, Amanda?
I think so. Unless anyone has any more specific questions, I could sing a song, do a dance.
No.
Just a quick question
Thank you so
about-
much.
About the schoolhouse roof. So we were awarded the money. When will it actually start and be completed?
So right now, it's a frozen grant. Most grants are. We got a letter. The Historical Society said they didn't feel like it would be a forever freeze, that they'd be one of the ones that was cut. So we're kind of, the caveat to the email was, don't spend the money until we've told you it's on frozen, because what some people are doing is they're moving ahead with their project, and then they can't get reimbursed until it's unfrozen. So I personally, and I guess Paul's the town manager, he can decide, but until I see it's unfrozen, I don't think we'll be spending any money.
Why do they freeze it?
It's federally, they've frozen most of the grants as they're reviewing, auditing the federal government, is my understanding, so it's frozen.
Okay.
Paul, before I forget, do you have any idea if that $3 million grant on Sunset Heights is part of that federal freeze or anything?
As far as I know, it's frozen, but we haven't finished the paperwork for it either, so. We're working on numbers. And it's kind of tied in with Chaffee Brook as well, so.
Thank you, Ben.
Before we leave, folks, and adjourn, I'd like to see something, I guess not too many people are
We
here.
still have utilities to go over.
Oh, excuse me, but before we get to that, I just want to say that tax season is coming up, folks. We're doing the taxes. The property tax fairness credit, we've mentioned quite a few times. And it's tax time. You have to file your state tax return to get that credit. And a lot of people I know have already, not a lot, a few have already filled out that form, and they are getting substantial rebates, substantial credits. So don't forget, while you're doing your taxes, to file that property tax fairness credit. Even if you don't have to file a tax return, file a tax return, just for the state of Maine. A lot of people on fixed income don't have to file a state tax return. But please look into it. And that's coming up. Deadline is, well, when your taxes are due.
And if you have problems, Judy can help you with it.
What did you call it again?
Property tax fairness credit. It's on our town website from about a month ago. I think Judy posted it a while back.
I would say if anybody knows, it's Judy's.
No, she did. Judy posted it on our website a while back. But any questions, call Judy. She knows it all. Before she retires.
And that's in May.
We're on page 40 now.
I beg your pardon?
Page 40.
We have to pay $200,000 for hydrants,
That's correct,
no matter what, huh?
correct. I can't tell you the percentage, but they're allowed to charge a percentage of their operating budget for hydrant maintenance, and that's under state statute. And you can't buy them. That question always comes up somewhere. Why rent them? It's just,
We budgeted $200,000 and then we actually paid, what, 140 last year?
No, you
No,
know,
that's not,
probably
no,
through the
I'm
year.
looking at the wrong one, yep, okay.
but Kennebec Water had a rate increase, so I'm assuming that's why this went up as well, so.
I mean, they're all pretty much set costs, so there's not a whole lot we can.
You know, and then it's, I mean, you can have a year you won't spend anything on any of them, and some other years, you know, street lights right now, we've probably got 10 or 12 that need to be repaired. And then the traffic lights, hopefully we shouldn't have too much problem with traffic lights, they were all rebuilt last year, so a lot of it was all upgraded.
We still have $5,500 for it proposed for this year.
We're still responsible for like burnt bulbs and
Yeah.
that type of deal.
Now, there's a little place off Whipple Street. I was down there one night. I was measuring a place up there. They don't have any street light on that thing. Is that Dixon's responsibility?
No. Why would it be Dixon? It's CMP.
Well,
No, because we.
There was a
we maintain the
request.
roads.
we maintain the roads?
Yeah,
We all have
and
the street lights.
Oh, we do?
So we don't have any street lights here. Is there a reason why we don't have any there?
We haven't put them up. I mean, we had a request a couple of years ago, and I think we kind of.
For that
yes.
mobile home park?
Yeah, that little,
It's
I
pretty,
don't
it's
remember.
pretty,
it's dark in
it's
there.
very
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
It's,
But I think part
and
of the
it's
re-
55 and older that live there.
Yeah.
I
There's
think part of the reason was because they argued that there was no sidewalks, so that they didn't need streetlights. But my concern was, you got first responders going in there, and without lights, it's that much more difficult
right.
to find a house number.
Yeah.
It also makes it prime for someone to break into somebody's house. I mean, it is black when you go there.
I
If you
went in
guys
there
have
one
never
evening and
gone,
you couldn't see the numbers on the house.
Right.
you couldn't see a hand in front of you.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that goes back to when we were supposed to have that actual safety committee, which was supposed to make those recommendations to you guys.
Is there something we can do about it now?
We can, if you wanna put some up.
What's it gonna cost to put up some lights in there?
Well, you'd first have to figure out how many you would actually put up, right?
I mean, I'm not a streetlight guy, but I know in town they're nice to have, but.
I'd say if you're gonna do it, probably at least the back corners,
Right.
and maybe one in the middle,
Yeah, 3 of them.
so probably 4.
I think the last time we put some up, I've got one coming up, the one that we approved over on the Augusta Road, over by the dentist place.
Well,
It'll probably cost us about $600 a piece, so I mean,
How much, I'm sorry?
probably 600
Oh,
So,
I-
a
Piece.
piece.
yeah.
So if you're putting up 3 or 4, I mean,
and that money comes from this?
this is mostly maintenance, but we can spend this money.
well, I think we ought to at least put it on as a discussion item for the next meeting.
I think so too.
I mean, they come back to me, and like I said, I'm a little bit more of a hard nose, but they wanted us to support it because of snow removal. Well, you know, we do have headlights, so it's not, for us, it's not an issue, but,
Yeah, but first responders.
Yeah, I know.
that's
It's a
the other-
safety issue for sure.
Yeah.
It's for the people that live there.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just walking out of their house at night
I mean,
to try
I-
to find their car.
I had someone approach me about it, and then I kinda went around the neighborhood, and at that time, it was kinda split 50-50 on people who didn't want the lights to people wanting the
Right,
lights.
it's, some people don't like them. I mean, there's people who are big into the light pollution type of thing and don't want the lights, and other people want them, so.
I think it's a matter of security. I think we ought to have that in there.
I mean, all of our streets are hit or miss. Some streets have a lot of lights, some other streets only have a couple, so I don't know how it was decided in the past.
Like
Yeah.
Lee said, even in that stretch, once you come around the corners, that one stretch, I mean, it's.
Yeah,
Well, that company did that audit. When we got,
Well, this street wasn't there at the time.
no, but I'm saying for the
Yeah.
rest of the town.
Yeah, well, they looked at what we already had. They didn't really,
Why don't we look and see and putting some lights in there?
and I definitely think I'll request that as a discussion item, and I think we also need to look at the, creating the criteria for any citizen wanting a street light, that they have to meet, 6 or 8 items in order to at least advance it to the next step for.
and that's my
council review.
understanding when they had that citizens.
Oh, it was supposed to be a
Safety.
safety committee, wasn't there?
Right. You had the police chief, fire chief, and a couple of citizens that could look at it objectively and not just because, well, this guy pays a lot of taxes, so we should give him a street light or whatever, and I'm not trying to be rude, but, they all follow the same criteria, that.
Yep. Yeah, we ought to put that up.
Maybe you
Okay.
can put that one too, Lee,
Yeah,
to do that committee for the safety,
Yeah.
whatever they called it. Yeah.
Public Safety Committee,
Yeah.
reestablish it.
Right.
Yep.
I'll do both those items. Or all 3.
Through the chair, I apologize. I should have reviewed these last couple tabs a little closer. That $6,000 is not going to be enough. I think that budget should be brought back up to at least 10,000
For which one?
for the streetlights. Because we've already spent over $5,000 of that budget, and we're pretty much on track to hit about the 10,000 this year. So I think if you put it at 6,000, we're probably gonna come in quite a bit over budget.
We'll put it up to 10.
That's what I would recommend, back up to what it was a couple years ago.
Why did they go down?
I
So
honestly
much.
don't know. I don't know if it was a typing error or,
I think it may have been because we had just replaced all the lights throughout the town, at the tune of what, 200 and some odd $1,000.
Well,
It was
So we didn't expect
217.
a whole lot of maintenance in the first few years.
well, we spent 84 last year. The year before.
no, we're looking at the streetlights, the last line.
Oh, streetlights,
Yeah,
10.5? Yeah, okay.
The actual was 10,000.
Yeah, we spent 10,000 last year.
6.
And we spent already 5,000 of this 6,000?
Yes,
So we're at 94%.
correct. Yeah, we're on track to hit about 10,000 this year.
Well, it's kind of a no-brainer.
And honestly, looking at history, traffic lights, shouldn't we go to 7,500? 24, we used 8,400. We're already over the 5,000 this year.
Jeez.
Right.
So first, are we moving that streetlights to 10? Everybody agree with that?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yep.
You good, Katie?
Yep.
And then, I'm sorry, Jeff, where were you with the next one?
Either 75 or 8,000 for the traffic lights. We used 84 and 24, and we're at 60, almost 6,500 this year.
Yeah, but didn't we have most of the lights fixed last year, Paul?
This past summer, this past spring is when we did.
Yeah,
all
but you're way over. We're 129, so it makes sense to go up to.
Should we really go up, Jeff, on that? Where it was all done last year?
Paul, what's your thought on that, Paul? I mean, you deal with it more than anybody.
Like I said, that's the same thing. I mean, you go years, we don't have anything, and they were all updated, and, I mean, obviously, we're still responsible for the lights themselves, because the actual heads in that weren't replaced, except for the ones that Cumberland Farms that got ripped out of the sky, but fiasco, but that's all brand new again. But, the rest of them, you know, usually the most expensive is when we have problems in the cabinets, and we have to call somebody in that's all brand new, that's still all under warranty. So it'd be just light heads. You know, if you wanna bring it up to 6,000 or something, that's, I probably wouldn't bring it up more than that.
Well, that's such a small number, Paul, if we only bring it up 500. If we're under, you need 500 later on, you're gonna find $500 somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Or we end up being a little overdrafted next year and we'll make it good.
Why don't we go 6,500 this year and see how that plays
That's
out?
fine. And everything else, we hate to take the taxpayers' money, just put it in the bank, and we don't actually need it, so.
Yeah, that, I agree with you as well.
6,500.
So we're talking 6,500.
65?
So we're adding 15,
That's always good.
we're adding $1,000 to it, right?
Yeah.
Is that
That
it? Good
That's
for
all
me.
I see.
Is that all we had for tonight?
Yep.
Okay, call to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?